up, guys? Evolutionary.org radio coming your way, episode 407. Stevesmi here and the Rickster. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Good, good. So, guys, this is episode number 407. We got some 5 excellent steroid-related and fitness-related topics coming your way. So the first one, we're going to bring in Rick, because Rick, I think you had mentioned you had a little experience with this. What to do about gynecomastia bitch tits that you develop as a teenager. It's called pubertal gyno.
Well, when you're a teenager, what do you do about it? You just ride that shit out, because as a teenager, you want your endocrine system as a young man to just do what it's supposed to do. And your gyno that you have as a teenager should go away on its own, unless you become obese and unless some of your lifestyle habits make it so that it gets worse. Really, when it comes down to it, you really should just get rid of it. It should go away on its own. Those glands should just get smaller on their own. If you are a guy in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're still experiencing or seeing some of that gyno, it's never going away. You still have a hard lump there, hard mass there when you touch it. If you're in an extreme case, you might just need to go in for the surgery. Look, the guy to go to is Dr. Blau. Dr. Blau is out here in New York, and Dr. is B-L-A-U, Blau. Yeah, that's him. I did an interview with Dr. Blau almost 14 years ago. And 14 years ago, he was the best gynecomastia surgery in the country, in my opinion. So he's probably still is. He's still operating. He's still active. So check out Dr. Blau. He is the man. If you got a little bit of gyno, but you're also fat, see, you got a problem if you have, like, you're sporting a little bit of a six-pack, but you got hard gyno. That's a fucking problem. If you're a fat guy, if you're 20% body fat, 18, 19% body fat even, and you see a little bit of gyno, you got to lose that body fat first to see what's there. You gotta lose the body fat to see what is there, to see what your body does and how your chest shapes. And look, and there are guys out there, I've seen before and after pictures on Dr. Blau's website. Huge guys with muscles, man, ripped abs. And they got those sugar tits. They got those pointy female nipple sugar tits. Pictures on Dr. Blau's website. Now, if you're a fat guy and you got sugar tits, what do they call them, sugar tits? Because it looks like a little pile of sugar being poured over. Like, just pretend you're pouring sugar on a table. It'll make a little mountain. It's just a funny way of calling it. And if you're a fat guy and you got sugar tits, then it kind of goes with the territory, dude. Hate to fucking tell you. But if you can pinch a good chunk of fat of your belly and you got sugar tits, it's the combo. You got the combo. You got the kit. Now, if you got abs, if you got fucking striations on your upper chest, like you look ripped, and then you got little sugar tits, that's surgery time, boy. You got to go in and do it. I think if you're a fat guy and you got some sugar tits, maybe not the worst idea to run a little bit of Novadex right along with a cutting diet. Fuck a cycle. Don't. If you're a fat guy, don't do steroids, please. Just please, dude. If you're 20% body fat, you just don't. Just stay away from the fucking steroids. It's not your thing yet. Okay, and just a little bit of Nova and just regular cutting diet, good weight loss, and see where that gets you. See if that improves the look of your chest. If you see that everything in your body, else in your body improves, but your chest still has hard mass under it, and you still got sugar tits, then time to give Dr. Blau a call. And that's the only way you're gonna get through it. But if you're kind of like me, where I keep my body fat low and I use a little bit of Nova with pretty much every cycle, almost everything I do, even then, you'll be fine. Look, me, when my body fat gets high, when I get over, 14% body fat, 15% body fat, 13, which I can be 14% body fat 1 or 2 months out of the year sometimes for whatever reason. I'm up there now because I've had tennis elbow issues and I've had a couple of surgeries in my mouth, which has made me change my lifestyle greatly. And when I get up there, I see my nipples start to get that little sugar tit kind of lookish to them a little bit when my body fat just is in the mid-teens, mid-low teens. So for me, it's even there. I have to be at 10 to 12% body fat for my chest to look round. And even when it looks round, there's still a little bit of fat mass right under the nipple. And I've just decided to live with it. At 40, it doesn't bother me. My chest, you couldn't look at me and say, "Oh, you've got gyno, you got gynecomastia from when you were a kid." I just keep it under control, keep my body fat low, throw Nova at the situation here and there. I had a nice stash of topical anti-estrogen, topical formycin, which got accidentally destroyed now, so I don't have that anymore. I'm gonna try to figure out what's a good option to that. And yeah, that's it, man. That's it. What else do you have, Steve?
The next one we're going to talk about is newbie using dianabol advice. So dianabol, guys, one of the most dummy-proof steroids out there. It's so simple to use. You can just run 10, 15, up to 30. Some guys even run 50 milligrams a day. You can run it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. 7, 8 weeks is pushing it. You want to keep an eye on your liver, but it's really simple to run. If you run it at a low dose, you may not need an AI. If you run it at a moderate to high dose, I would run an AI with it and run some aromacin. And then you're going to want to run the N2 guard with it for your liver support. But it's really easy to use. I don't have any issues with guys running orals as their first cycle. I know guys have been running orals for 20 years. They just don't want to inject. They're scared of the needle. They don't want needles around their house. They just don't want to go down that path. So they run orals and it gets the job done. They'll run the nice thing about these short little oral cycles, they're in and out of your system quick. So you don't get shut down for long periods of time. So you can recover actually quicker from running dbol as a cycle. So, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just running dianabol by itself. I mean, it's one of those things that the nice thing about what it's going to do for you, it's going to basically flush water into your muscles. Your muscles are mostly made of water. It's going to make your muscles bigger with all that water. It's going to increase strength very rapidly. It's going to increase your appetite very rapidly. And it's going to really make you feel good. I mean, dianabol is pretty much testosterone in oral form, but it's even better because it doesn't have, a long half-life. It doesn't have an ester attached to it where it's going to be in your system a long period of time once you stop using it. So it's very flexible. So it's kind of like running a very flexible version of testosterone, and it's something that you can start using, and literally within a few days, you can go in the gym and notice your lifts improving. So it's just one of the more dummy-proof steroids out there. And, it's something you can definitely do. Just you can take some of my ideas I just gave you and apply them to yourself. What do you think, Rick?
Look, if you're a newbie, it's your first cycle, you can go as little as 5 milligrams of dbol a day. You can go as little as 5 mgs, no AI. Unless you are prone to gynecomastia, like we just discussed in our last section here, unless you have gynecomastia from when you were a kid, chances are that dbol is not gonna do much in the way of being harmful as far as aromatization goes. And even as dbol does aromatize a little bit, that estrogen is going to help your gains quite a bit. You go as little as 5 milligrams, go as little as 10 milligrams. I mean, guys, between 5 to 10, 10 is a lot, but I mean, 5 to 7, 8 milligrams a day of testosterone. That's all your body makes. Natural testosterone. That's all it makes. It's about that much. So you take 5 to 10 milligrams of dianabol, now a stronger synthetic steroid, you're more than doubling what your body can already produce naturally. So when if any guys out there think that they're not going to get much from 5-10 milligrams of dianabol, well, look, you're in essence doubling the amount of androgens your body has already anyway, and you're doubling it with something that's stronger. It's methylated synthetic hormone. So just that's it. That's all I got, Steve. What do you got next? I think Steve has left the building. Hey, Steve, where you going? I'm not done yet.
Yeah, that was an old one for sure. That was
where are you going? I'm not done yet.
What's his name? What's that guy's name?
All right, man. Come on. What are you doing over there? You take your cat out for a walk while we're doing the podcast?
Yeah, I was actually looking for my cat, guys. See, responsibility, Rick. We talked about it on the last podcast. Responsibility. So next one we're going to talk about is why are some steroids expensive and some super cheap? So this one's for you because you're the economic guru on steroid use. So why is it like if I walk into a pharmacy in a third world country and steroids are cheap as hell, and I walk in, I order steroids from a East European source, they're expensive as hell and have them shipped to me. But then I see some steroids cheap. And then why are some steroids like Primo expensive, Anavar expensive, but other steroids like dianabol and testosterone so cheap? Tell us the economics.
Well, some of it is supply demand, obviously. Testosterone is always going to be the cheapest because it's produced in such high quantities because it is prescribed to people that don't ever listen to this podcast or will ever hit the forums or will ever find out anything. They're just getting a shot from the doctor and going on with their lives, and they don't care about anything else. And those are a ton of people. So testosterone is made quite a bit. This one I came up today. I'm going to research it way more, and maybe this deserves a whole podcast. But my understanding now is that there is a bit of an additional process, not crazy, but there's a couple of additional steps in making some stuff like Primo, like Anavar, like Winstrol. And then, a little bit extra step or two, a little extra ingredient or two that's needed to help cleave and move these molecules around to create the structure, right? I've discussed how all these steroids come from the root of a cactus, is which uses the substrate to begin making these hormones. It's the cholesterol that's in there, plant cholesterol, plant steroid, I believe. And in there is the structure needed to make the steroid. So they use different processes to cleave, to carve out what's on this cholesterol molecule and just leave the steroid, which is not far from what your testicles do with what your Leydig cells do in your nuts with cholesterol. I mean, your body uses cholesterol as the substrate, as what it's going to make hormones out of. So we're kind of doing that with a cactus plant in a lab. And there is a little bit of extra materials and things needed to get the molecules just right. And this is what I've heard. Now, I've also heard that it's just a popularity thing. It's just what it is. It's just what became. It's just how things played out. And so because these steroids have always been known to be expensive, then they've always been expensive all the way back from the guys manufacturing the steroid. They'll always charge more for Primovolin and for Anavar. And even right below that, Winstrol and Trambolone, and some of these are the higher end stuff. And it just became what it is. It just became the way the market works. And so I've heard both kind of versions. I think this is one of those topics that I really, really need to research. It's not been my cup of tea since I like knowing about manufacturing and some of these things, but I don't care because it's not my real business. But I'm gonna research this quite a bit more. I think this deserves a second look at a second podcast. I told you guys what I think I know today, But I'll need more research, and we'll touch up again on another podcast.
What I do know about Anavar is Anavar, when it got banned in the late 80s, when it became very hard to get a hold of it. And what happened was there was such a huge demand for it because Anavar had been used by the previous generation so much that they really loved it because it did not aromatize into estrogen like dbol did. So they loved that it caused those dry, hard gains. So when it got banned, people were so desperate for it that those who had stocked up on it, the actual pharmacy grade quality Anavar, they were able to sell it at really, really high prices. So then when it came back a few years later, and then companies started coming in and started developing it again, they were able to take advantage of that supply and demand issue and keep the price elevated. So that's really the reason when I looked at the history of Anavar up, that it became that it's so expensive. So those are factors. When things become illegal and hard to get, the price goes up. It's a supply and demand thing. So this could be one of the factors contributing. And like you said, right, testosterone is so widely available and so cheap to make that the price, stays very, very low for testosterone. So that could be an issue. So definitely. Yep. So the next one we're going to talk about is, am I allergic to steroids? I keep getting a red itch. So just like anything else in life, guys, some people are allergic to things, some people aren't. And your body also changes over time. You could get stung by a wasp and go into anaphylactic shock. Then a week later, get stung by a wasp and nothing can happen to you. So our allergies change. This is why like going to an allergy doctor and getting the allergy tested is really, really dumb. Because when you get allergy tested at an allergy doctor, assuming they even do the test correctly, which, who the fuck knows if that pretty girl that he hires is actually performing that allergy test correctly, because it's easy to fuck that shit up. But assuming that they do, it's going to tell you what you're allergic to that very second. It's not going to tell you what you were allergic to when you were on your way to the allergy doctor. I'm going to tell you what you're allergic to the next day or a month later or a year later. So that's how allergies work, guys. Our bodies constantly change. I eat almonds for like 2 straight years, almost every day. Okay. And I developed an allergy. I started sneezing after eating almonds. So I stopped eating them. Then I went back to eating them and I didn't have my allergies anymore. So our allergies come and go. Allergies definitely come and go. So same thing with steroid use. You may be allergic to the carrier oil or you may not be. Every injection may be different. Or you could be allergic to it throughout your whole cycle. And if you are, you need to change brands, because having an allergic reaction to something constantly every time you inject is putting unnecessary stress on your body. So you need to try different brands, different carrier oils, and find one that fits. This is the beauty part of underground labs now, is these underground labs are figuring out ways to actually create steroids that don't hurt to inject, don't have post-injection pain, don't cause allergic reaction. They use different types of carrier oils than some of the pharmaceutical companies do. And they're able to be creative and create injectable steroids that don't cause these types of problems. So
they're putting methylated stuff. I've been doing it for the last 10 years, putting methylated steroids into oils. It used to be, you used to have to get Winstrol, for example, in a water-based solution. Sometimes the Winstrol would clump up when you're in the solution. It'd be hard to get through a needle. You'd have to warm it up under hot water each and every shot to make sure that it shot nicely. Now they've got it in oil. It's nice. They've been doing some really, and the concentrations of how much sauce and how much juice they get into each ml, it's been climbing steadily too.
So finish your thoughts on this topic, Rick, and then we'll go to the next topic.
I've seen it happen before. I've had guys complain to me that they got the stuff from their source, and every time they shoot, they get itchy all over their body for the next day or so. It's so isolated, and it happens maybe with certain bottle or certain this or that, that it's hard for anyone to really pinpoint and tell you exactly what's going on. You know, it's can be isolated, doesn't happen all the time. I've seen it happen a lot with when guys are shooting stuff like trenbolone, they'll get some itchiness. But you know, it's hard to say, man. Allergic to steroids? I don't know. Maybe some of the carriers, some of the stuff in there, but the actual hormone itself. Because what's an allergy? Is your body trying to react to something it thinks is an invader, it thinks is a foreign body. You know, a reason people experience a lot of allergies nowadays is because our bodies have always been fighting something. We've almost always had some kind of lice, almost always had some kind of stomach parasite. It's only been the last few hundred years that we've gotten rid of most of our parasites. I mean, lice was even a problem in schools back when my mom used to go to school. Is it a problem today? Not fucking really. You don't have a lot of lice issues at schools, not you did back when my grandmother was in school. So you would always being exposed to some kind of parasite, you know, lice that spitting fucking saliva in your scalp. I mean, and so your body's always reacting to these things. Now, when you were free of parasites, when you've never had lice in your life, when you've never had a tapeworm, you've never had hookworms, you've never had anything, right? Your body is primed and looking for fight, is looking for that invader, it's looking for what the fuck is there. And so certain chemicals, certain compounds will create those kind of reactions. Look, is the reason why when you look at a breakdown of what goes into vaccines, there's all types of shit in there that's poisonous. Reason is, if they just introduce the DNA into your body without all these other things, your body might not react to it. Your body might get rid of it, not even making a big fuss. But if you introduce the DNA and behind it, you introduce some of these other poisons, basically, your body will have a shock or reaction to it, and it'll automatically start to make antibodies to that DNA because it thinks is what's making you feel like this. So your body can go and can develop some sort of reactions to some of these solvents and some of the stuff in these steroids. It's just something to be aware of, man. This is a broad answer. I don't have a clear-cut answer on what it is that's happening. I just gave you guys a bunch of ideas. Hopefully it'll help anybody out there who's run into this situation.
The last one we're talking about is TRT for your father. So this is a really bad idea. The misconception out there, and I've heard some people say this, is that testosterone is natural in the body and it's healthy for our heart. And, you know, that's just ignorance, you know, in play. Your body produces the amount of testosterone that it needs. When you add testosterone to your body, you're going to take more than what your body wants. So one of the arguments I have with guys who are on TRT, because when people are on TRT, they're going to defend their TRT use. And they're going to say that, oh, you know, I'm doing my body a good favor by going on TRT. But here's the thing. If your body had low testosterone before, there's a reason for that. Your body is trying to compensate for something by having low testosterone. It's trying to actually help the organs. It wants lower inflammation in the body. So when you add TRT to your body, especially when we're talking our parents or grandparents, let's say someone in their 60s or 70s, you take TRT and you run TRT at more than what your body is supposed to produce at that age, you're not doing your heart any favors. You're causing inflammation in your body. It's a huge mistake. You're going to increase the chance of stroke, of heart attack. So it is really not a good idea to put your parents or grandparents on TRT. You think you're doing them a favor. You think, oh, I'm going to be the hero. I'm going to help my dad, with his libido. I'm going to help my dad feel better and stuff. You're not. You're actually shortening their lifespan. The only way you should be on TRT, you should be, having your parents or grandparents go on TRT. So if they're going to a legitimate endocrinologist who knows what they're doing and has their best interests at heart, there as in your dad or granddad, not them as themselves. So stay away from most of these anti-aging clinics. They're for profit. The people working there are trying to put their kids through private school. They're trying to pay off their yacht. They don't care about your health. Most of them do not. Find a good, honest endocrinologist who's not trying to put you on a lot of stuff just to make money off of you. That's the key. It's like going to a car dealership. Why on earth in 2021 would you ever walk into a car dealership? You're going to get screwed. They're not trying to help you. They're trying to screw you. So there's absolutely no reason to walk into an anti-aging clinic because they're trying to screw you. They're not trying to help you. So, that's my advice on it, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, you really need to be careful. It just flabbergasts me when I have clients come to me and they're on 200, 250 milligrams a week of testosterone. It doesn't make any sense. Your body does not produce that naturally. So why would you go on it just to feel good? It doesn't make any sense. You should be taking a proper TRT dose. You shouldn't be taking twice what your body would have produced at peak of your life, So there's a reason you have low testosterone levels. There's a reason for that. You should either fix that reason or you should run a correct TRT dose, not double what your body should naturally produce. So, that's my thoughts on it, guys. At the end of the day, like, I see so many people going on TRT who are even in their 20s. I mean, much less in their 60s or 70s. It's like Viagra or Cialis. Why in the world would you take Viagra or Cialis? If you're under 60 years old, why the fuck would you take Viagra or Cialis? These are drugs developed for fucking 80-year-olds, okay, to get hard. They're not developed for 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. There's 20 and 30-year-olds taking this shit nowadays. You're telling me there's not something wrong with these people? There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. All right? That's not normal. So just realize, guys, very, very important, the whole TRT thing. If you run an excess amount of TRT, it is not heart healthy and it will shorten your lifespan. Just please listen to me on that and be smart. You've got cancer cells all throughout your body, especially in your prostate, that are ripe for getting triggered. And if you run lots of testosterone as your TRT dose, you're running 200 milligrams a week of testosterone, you're triggering those cancer cells. That estrogen and those androgens are triggering those prostates, those cancer cells in your prostate. So, Rick, give your final thoughts on this.
Well, my dad's on TRT now. He's just about a year shy of being 60. When I was born, he was still a young man, and his life is much improved. He was he knows that I take steroids. He never understood it much, but seeing me get older in my ID, but not in my body, in my physique, in my abilities, has made him extremely curious about the lifestyle. Extremely curious. He said to me, son, I wasn't like you at 38, 39, 40. Like, what the fuck? I've been giving him some of my supplements, HC Generate, N2Guard. He's been N2Slin. He's been on these for years now. He's got good testosterone levels. His tests always come up really nicely, but he has a young wife now. She's in her 30s. He still plays soccer competitively with guys his age group. It's funny. They do, once you are in the over 55 soccer leagues, instead of doing 2 half times, they do three third times to give him more rest. This is kind of, I always make fun of him for that. And he found that the testosterone adding a little bit extra to his regimen of herbals HC generate and such is just giving him way better performance. He felt better on the field. He felt better smashing his young wife. He felt better all around. And I also put him on to the wonders of Cialis, just 5 milligrams every third day. What it can do for a guy his age. And he's extremely happy. I explained to him, obviously, all of the issues that could come with it, all of the problems that could come with it. I explained to him all the problems I've had. I mean, this is my dad. So if I try to do a good job for you guys here, you can be sure that I gave him the best consultation I've ever given to anyone in their life. And I follow him through, did his blood work before and after. I have him come off of this stuff. He's got a doctor local that he works with, and he is extremely happy. I mean, like I said, just like 5 mgs of Cialis every third day or so, doing a little bit of sauce. He only cycles it because he's got decent testosterone levels for his age because he takes HC Generate and has been since I put the product out on the market. He's always loved it. And he feels good. It improved his life. He feels younger. He put on some muscle mass. He lost some body fat, and he understands all of the risks, fully understands all of the risks that are associated with it. And to be fair with you guys, anybody out there listening and hearing this and thinking about putting their father on TRT, look, he really came to me and asked me and really, really stayed after me over it. You know, it's the reason why I said, all right, Dad, let's talk about this seriously, because I mean, it was a couple of years, man, since I was 37, 38, that he's just seen me and seen that I'm not deteriorating. He's been after me, asking me about this, asking me about that. He knows I didn't know much about it. He's asking me about stuff he reads on the news, and he really asked to be brought into the lifestyle. So I said, look, let's get you a doctor to check your blood work. Whatever your doctor says goes. And I can help you a little bit on the side here, but you're my dad. I'd have a hard time really consulting you fully. I think we need a doctor. And as long as your doctor's on board, I'll get creative with you. I've helped him come back from injuries with Osterin and TB 500. I helped him improve his cardio for playoffs one time with GW. I mean, look, these are old man. I mean, I feel kind of bad. He's cheating in a sense, but I'm sure there's probably other guys on TRT. He's just it just sat well with him. So, you know, it's my daddy. He asks, he pursues this thing. He still plays at a competitive level. You know, he plays on about 3 different soccer leagues, to be honest with you guys. He has like 2 games on Sunday and 1 game on Saturday. His tough game is the game on Saturday because he plays guys that are 40 and above. Then on Sunday, he plays in a 50 and above league and then another league for 55 and above. And those are his 2 easy games. And he's 59 now, 58. So that's been my experience with it. Like I said, he's got a doctor, checks his blood work, sticks his finger up his ass. Just, you know, he gets all his stuff done by another party, because the proximity that him and I have, I just don't feel I could really. I think I need some help. So that's how it is. That's how we did it. And yeah, man, my dad's a happy camper right now. His life's changed and he feels good, and he's performing for his 30-something-year-old wife. So that's got to be good, right?
All right, guys. So that sums it up, guys. We'll have another episode coming next week. Keep the questions coming. Take care.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.